guys! A lot of you have asked me how I'm preparing my prints and what tools I'm using to do so. So here is a quick walkthrough of how you can make good edited prints from scanning to the finished product. Absolute key to a good print is obviously to have a good scanner. There's a lot that you can do with a low budget scanner, but it will take you more time to edit the picture and won't give you the same crisp results. That does not mean that you need to go out there and buy the most expensive scanner there is though. It's still possible, and I personally used a very cheap one for a while until I saved enough to be able to afford the scanner I'm using currently. I'm using the Epson Perfection V550 Photo, and I've been very happy with that decision so far. As soon as you finished your piece, prepare it for scanning. Be very careful not to touch the glass and make sure to always keep it clean of dust. Make sure your DPI is minimum 300 since you want to be able to print it later. If you're interested what exactly DPI is and why you should always have a high DPI for your prints, I suggest you read about it online. There's a lot of very interesting stuff out there to learn about it, and I will provide you a few links in the description box. If I'm happy with my preview scan, I then prepare it for scanning. My scanner offers me different file types, and a lot of people like using TIFF, but most of the time a regular JPEG will do the job. Make sure it's high quality to avoid artifacts. After the image got imported to your computer, open it in your desired editing software. I have been working with Photoshop for years and I feel most comfortable with it. First thing I do is roughly crop it to its original size. Now I create a level layer on the bottom right to adjust the brightness and to make the dark parts of my drawing pop a bit more. Make sure that you always use the adjustment layers on the bottom right. They act like a mask, which gives you more freedom. By using a mask/adjustment layer, you can come back later and readjust it if you want some changes without ruining the actual piece and having to start from the beginning. Since my drawing is drawn with pencil, I want to decrease the saturation. This will give it a very authentic feeling once I print it. A few more tweaks on the levels adjustment layer, and then it's ready for the actual cleanup. First thing I realized is that her eye is a bit droopy, so I want to fix it. I create a second layer, put it under the first layer and fill it with white. Then I go back into the original layer and I select the eye to make a second copy of it on a separate layer. I scroll back to check the overall composition and it looks good to me, so I start cleaning it up even more. Just minor adjustments here and there. Since I want to sign my prints by hand, I remove my watermark. Also, I want my piece to look as clean as possible, so I clean up the edges from any kind of dust or smudges that I caused going over the piece with my hand, and I also make sure to remove all small imperfections that catch my eye. Yet I want to stay as true to the original piece as possible. My goal is not to sell people a different version than they see on my Instagram, but to enhance it just a tiny bit. Imperfections like pencil strokes going through her body give the piece character and texture, and I do not want to remove those. I only remove things I feel interrupt the flow, and I make sure to give her slightly thicker outlines to make her pop off the piece even more. Now my piece is finally ready to be printed. When it comes to printing, it once again will depend heavily on what kind of paper and printer you use, but you can absolutely achieve quality prints by using a cheap one. It will take some time and test prints to adjust to every printer you have, no matter the brand or cost. Patience is key. I once again saved a long time to be able to afford the printer I'm using currently, which is the Canon Pixma Pro 100S series, and I absolutely do not recommend it as an entry-level printing device. Handling it can be very iffy and repurchasing ink is very expensive. If you do not have any experience printing at home, using an external printing company will save you time, money, and nerves. I recommend using the option your printer provides to achieve the best possible quality and using paper with minimum of 200 GSM or more, but that is up to personal preference. After I have printed my pieces, I cut them by hand using a cutter, ruler, and a cutting mat. It takes longer than using a guillotine, but I currently can't afford one, so cutting by hand it is. I do not recommend using scissors though. I then write the title, size, and date of the piece onto its back, and I sign it both on the back and on the front. I've experimented with different pens and color pencils, but I like writing down all the information with pencils and use something more fancy to sign the piece itself. Here, I decided for a golden pen. Since I want my prints to be protected from dust, I will seal them into clear bags individually and seal the back with a tape that matches the signature on the front. If you're interested in purchasing this piece as a print, you can head over to my Etsy store. Link is in the description. And that is it. The whole process may be a bit hard the first few times, but after a few trial and errors you will find yourself editing your scans in no time. I hope this helped you to understand my personal process in some way, and I'm looking forward to make more of these kind of videos in the future. Let me know what you want to see next in the comment section down below, and I will see you in my next video. Bye! The whole process may be a bit hard for the whole process the whole process may be a bit hard if you oh my god the whole